Hello and welcome back to World News, coming to you live from Warsaw. I'm Stalia Strzemska. The first group of Polish citizens evacuated from Israel arrived safely in Warsaw. The Polish Deputy Foreign Minister, Henryka Mościcka-Dendys, welcomed them back. She also announced that on Thursday, the evacuation of another 65 people from Israel is planned and that the plane will take off from Amman.
Poland's Foreign Minister Radosław Sikorski thanked the Deputy Minister for her efficient coordination of the evacuation on social media platform X, adding that this is how effective diplomacy works. Many of those who have safely returned on this first flight expressed relief.
I definitely feel relieved. The trip itself went very smoothly. I am very grateful to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for organizing it so well. We took off from Tel Aviv yesterday after 1 p.m. Now we are in Warsaw. I was with a friend because it was a business trip. He's German and he is still stuck there because his country did not take care of him and he has to find his own way back through Amman.
Bergalem, a seaside tourist district, is always buzzing with life, but came to a standstill after the attack on Iran. People were actually sitting at home. There was no one on the streets. Haifa itself was under heavy fire. Bergalem was not that much, but we received alerts on our phones 2 to 3 times a day. After 10 minutes, sirens would go off and everyone would go down to the shelter.
The Czech diplomacy is also organizing a repatriation flight for citizens who want to return home from Israel. A special plane carrying 66 passengers evacuated from Israel landed at a military airport in Prague on Tuesday morning. Israel launched massive attacks on Iran on June 13th, saying they were targeting nuclear and military facilities.
Since Israel launched an attack on Iran last Friday, Iran has retaliated by firing more than 400 missiles and hundreds of drones at Israel, as reported by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Thus far, 24 people have lost their lives in Israel and at least 224 individuals have been killed in Iran, according to state media.
While some residents of Israel and Iran continue spotting missiles flying overhead, others are too busy evacuating from major cities. Following calls from Israel and US officials, the people of Tehran began leaving the capital, causing heavy traffic. At the same time, those residing in Tel Aviv and Haifa were advised to evacuate by Iran. Shortly thereafter, the US Embassy in Israel announced that it will be closed until Friday, as Israel and Iran continue trading blows. Moreover, the Iranian Mehr news agency claimed Iran has launched Fatah missiles toward Israel. According to Tehran, the Fatah-1 missile is a hypersonic weapon traveling at 5 times the speed of sound. Iran's supreme leader, Ali Khamenei, issued a warning on social media, telling Israel, quote, "The battle begins."
Now, Donald Trump posted on social media, quote, "unconditional surrender," referring to Iran, of course. He also said that the US will not target the country's supreme leader, at least not for now. On Tuesday, Trump warned that Washington's patience was wearing thin. He said there was no intention to kill Iran's leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, for now. However, he posted on Truth Social that we know exactly where the so-called supreme leader is hiding, implying that he is an easy target. President Donald Trump arrived back in Washington early Tuesday after cutting short his stay at the G7 summit in Canada due to the ongoing conflict between Israel and Iran. According to some American media outlets, Trump is contemplating joining Israel in strikes aimed at Iran's underground nuclear facilities. The G7 summit in Canada has just concluded and was full of surprises. The agenda was disrupted by the escalation of conflict between Israel and Iran, prompting US President Donald Trump to leave early to address the crisis. Here are some key takeaways.
The G7 was one leader short, following the US president's surprise decision to leave the summit early to return to Washington. It meant that Donald Trump missed a planned meeting with Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelenskyy. A major topic on the summit's agenda were the ongoing conflicts in the Middle East. The 7 leaders called for de-escalation of hostilities in the region, including a ceasefire in Gaza. However, they stopped short of calling for a ceasefire between Israel and Iran. Also during the summit, French President Emmanuel Macron said he is determined to increase pressure on Russia to accept the immediate and unconditional ceasefire. The statement was quickly echoed by the Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney, who announced that Canada is launching a new package of sanctions against Russia.
With our international partners, we're launching a major new package of sanctions on individuals, on companies, on vessels, the Shadow Fleet, to exert maximum pressure on Russia. We're also sending over $2 billion in funding for drones, ammunition, armored vehicles to help Ukrainians defend their territory, as well as a $2.3 billion loan to help rebuild the infrastructure in that country. And take a moment to reiterate our condolences given the barbarism witnessed overnight in Kyiv caused by Russia.
Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelenskyy reported that the G7 leaders voiced their support for Donald Trump's efforts to secure a lasting peace in Ukraine. In a social media post, Zelenskyy further noted that the leaders are considering various strategies to increase pressure on Russia, including financial sanctions.
G7 leaders expressed support for President Trump's efforts to achieve a just and lasting peace in Ukraine. They recognized that Ukraine has committed to an unconditional ceasefire, and they agreed that Russia must do the same. G7 leaders are resolute in exploring all options to maximize pressure on Russia, including financial sanctions.
Ukrainians in the capital of the country are mourning people who lost their lives in yesterday's Russian airstrikes on Kyiv. According to the latest data, at least 26 people have been killed and 134 wounded. The attack prompted the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy to leave the G7 summit earlier than he intended to. The Russian strikes damaged buildings and infrastructure in 8 districts of Kyiv, with emergency services still searching for survivors in the rubble. Many of the deaths occurred in the Solomyansky district, when a Russian missile struck a 9-story apartment building, destroying one section. The 9-hour-long attack saw Russian forces launch 472 drones, including 280 Shaheds and 2 Kinjal ballistic missiles at Ukraine's capital. Kyiv Mayor Vitaly Klitschko said that Russia also used cluster munitions, which have been found in one area of the city. In a video posted to his Telegram channel, Klitschko also declared June 18th a day of mourning in Kyiv. Flags on all municipal buildings are flown at half-mast, and all entertainment events in the Ukrainian capital have been cancelled. Russia does not stand a chance against NATO and the EU, said Kaja Kallas, EU's foreign policy chief. Speaking in Strasbourg, Kallas added that the upcoming NATO summit in The Hague will be first and foremost about ramping up defense spending of the alliance.
I spoke at the start of Russia's threat to Europe, but Russia poses a 360-degree threat in the world. From helping shield the Assad regime, a use of chemical agents against the Syrian people, to arming and training mercenary forces from Sahel to Sudan, or using its shadow fleet to smuggle weapons to Libya in direct breach of the international arms embargo. Russia is a threat to global security. During the Cold War, the United States and its allies far outclassed the Soviet Union, and it won them the Cold War. Today, against NATO and the EU, Russia doesn't stand a chance. But we must stick together. When NATO leaders meet next week, keeping unity in the alliance is as much as a priority as spending more on defense.
The United Kingdom has formally cleared the name of Polish World War II General Stanisław Sosabowski. The ceremony in Warsaw was attended by reporter Kazimierz Łysiak, who has more on the story.
The United Kingdom has officially cleared and honored the name of Polish General Stanisław Sosabowski, a commander who fought in the Second World War and led the Polish paratroopers in the famous Operation Market Garden in the Netherlands. The Polish general was blamed by the British commander Browning for the lack of immediate success during that operation, and now, years later, the United Kingdom is finally clearing his name and setting the record straight.
General Sosabowski created the Polish army in the United Kingdom. He carried out all orders given by his superior, General Sikorski, and he was a loyal soldier until the very end. During his life, he was never recognized. On the contrary, he was often blamed and used as a scapegoat. But the truth is now before us more clearly than ever before.
On behalf of the United Kingdom, I want, sir, to formally express our gratitude for the heroism of the 1st Polish Independent Parachute Brigade during Operation Market Garden and the leadership of Major General Sosabowski. The deep bonds forged between Polish and British soldiers during these terrible days at Arnhem live on today, as our two nations rise to the challenge of protecting the future security of Europe.
This commemoration here in the Wilanowski Palace in Warsaw was a symbol of a close relationship between Poland and the United Kingdom, especially when it comes to the modern threats that the two countries are facing. And the biggest threat, of course, being the ongoing Russian invasion of Ukraine just beyond Poland's borders. Poland and the UK have both been staunch supporters of Ukraine. And this moment here in Warsaw, the clearing of the name of the Polish general is a sign for the future that Poland and the UK are also as strong allies as ever. From Warsaw, Kazimierz Łysiak, TVP World.
And with this, we conclude our final news roundup of the morning. Thank you for watching and have a good day.